Welcome to I Heart Geek.
And welcome to a violent edition of I Heart Geek.
Whoa.
Yeah.
That was intense.
That was intense.
I was going to try to say something about darkness in the night, but that doesn't even apply to this show.
Yeah, he definitely comes off on a different level as the Batman.
Yes, he does.
I think he's too dark for Tim Burton.
Tim Burton I don't think would pull off a version of Frank Castle.
I didn't even say it. We're talking about the Punisher today, aren't we?
Yeah, this is a psychology show, isn't it?
This is. I love these. These are some of my favorite episodes to do. I like these so much we didn't even do a listener feedback on it.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Well, no,
listeners.
actually, that was on purpose. That was I feel like the conversation will usually go really long on these.
Okay.
I don't want to cut it off.
All right.
It's one of those things. In fact, and I have to say this before we begin, me and Jason, this is one of the first comic book conversations we had was about the Punisher.
Was it?
It was. We were sitting in the meat room.
In the meat room. In the meat cooler.
Really questionable.
The meat room.
The meat room.
Yep, the meat room.
The meat room.
And we were
talking
Are you
about...
picturing a meat locker somewhere?
It's similar.
Kind of.
You're in the right direction.
Rocky training
Right,
session
like a
between the
Rocky,
two of them?
yeah.
Very close to that.
Yeah, very close.
Yeah.
But we were discussing our
Slabs of
favorite
cow hanging
superhero
from the ceiling.
costumes.
Oh, favorite superhero costumes.
And I said there was a Punisher. He said, that's stupid. It's just a sweater. And I'm like, but it's cool.
I do not
looking."
recall even believing that I said that.
I totally remember that
and
conversation.
who
with
did
you.
I say? Did I say Spider-Man?
I think you said Batman.
Jason.
Because I think you like the belt. I remember you bringing the belt.
Oh,
up for some
that
reason.
might be me. I could see that.
Well,
Jason,
that was definitely you. No one else talked comics but me and you in that place.
Punisher doesn't wear a sweater, so I don't imagine that I would have said that.
That's what he said. It's just a sweater with a skull on it. I'm like,
He also wears go-go boots.
he does.
White go-go boots. The black and white I always wondered about. But I think he has such a cool, iconic look.
Yeah, I would agree.
But anyway, I'm Dub, and I produce your show. And
Hi, Dub.
Sitting to my left, we have...
Hi guys, it's Miss Geeky Paige.
Hi, Miss Geeky Page.
You look frightened on this episode.
I am very scared.
Being the only girl in here is a little weird on the Punisher episode.
No, I think it's because,
It's the Punisher.
No,
yeah.
really, why are you scared?
No,
Tell
I'll
me.
fully admit. Sorry, guys, listeners. My knowledge of Punisher comes from the Netflix Marvel TV show.
That's all right.
That's not a
Of the
bad source.
Punisher.
Done
It's
very
not
well.
a bad source.
Which was a fantastic
Right, like I love
job
it.
at
So
that.
if you want
Yes,
to talk
it
about
was.
that, I'm your girl. For
I'm
that,
sure we're going to hit
but-
that at least.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
I'm out of my depth.
I'm Blythe, the YouTube guy, and I'm excited to talk about Punisher, one of my favorite anti-heroes within the Marvel Universe.
Nice. Would you even like him if he was DC?
No, if he was DC, I'd get him out of here.
That's
Same,
so wrong.
same character, same everything.
Oh,
DC,
you know that
label, get him out. Get
You
him
know
out.
those rules we're going to be changing on that? Oh, I know exactly what you're going to be discussing.
He'd be in too much competition with the Red Hood.
That's true.
I think Red Hood's
He would be the
wants
Red
to be
Hood.
Punisher.
Is that what it is?
to be fair.
Is that
Yeah.
a quote from the DC book? I'd rather be this Marvel character.
You're killing me. Jason, get me out of here.
Hi, I'm PB&Jason. I am the wizened old geek. And I like the Punisher okay. I can't say that he's my favorite character, but there are a couple things about him that I definitely am behind, especially in comparison to some other very popular vigilantes. And of course, that is a discussion we will get into deeper.
Absolutely. No, in my personal pantheon of the Mount Rushmore of comic book characters, he's almost on that list. I think I like him that much.
That's
I mean,
cool.
it's not populated with 4 Green Lanterns.
Well, you're killing me now.
Asking for a friend.
I wish I had friends that asked me questions like that.
You do. I'm sitting right here.
I Heart Geek today is brought to you by Dolph Lundgren. From Rocky to the Punisher, he's hardcore.
And smart. He's like
Coolest.
a professor or something.
Is he?
He's
Yeah.
he's brilliant.
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
really.
He's brilliant.
He's a professor of engineering or something.
Yeah,
like
he's like you to look at him. You like the dude's He-Man and he's stupid. Nope, he's brilliant.
that? Yeah.
You know what this sound is? That's the sound of my mind being blown.
Blown.
Oh,
Dolph
That happens a
Lundgren.
lot, though. You find those guys that you think are going to be stupid, and they end up being
Yeah.
college doctorates of something or
I
other.
was so excited when they brought him onto the Arrowverse.
Who was he in the Arrow?
He was head
I
of,
dropped out a while
He was
ago.
head of the Bratva.
Oh, okay.
Yes, he
Oh,
was.
cool.
Yeah.
Groovy. Okay, let's jump right into the game show.
Here's a generic game show for you.
Okay, on today's game show,
Speaking of punishing,
I'm
this
doing
was-
it today.
This was a punishing game show.
Yeah, it's
I
rough.
was going to tell you that right off the bat.
Okay, and anybody that does play along at home, I would like to hear your scores. I'm a little curious. I know that Christina always does, and I think that she'll probably beat most of the people at this table.
Yeah, she
I have
usually
no
does pretty
doubt.
good.
Okay, question number 1. Frank Castle has 2 children. What were their names? Courtney?
Phineas and Ferb.
That would have been amazing, but no. Thank you.
Thing 1 and Thing 2.
Negative. Wow, I thought you would have gotten that one.
All right, so I put Frank Jr.,
That's correct.
and I knew that one, and then I don't remember, but I put Isabel.
It was Christy.
Okay.
So 1 out of 2 points possible.
All right.
Good job.
Nice.
Christy Isabel Castle.
Yeah, I don't know.
Ferb. Christy
I did know
Ferb.
Frank Jr. That's the only one I knew.
Question number 2. How many people have played the Punisher, animated or live action?
4.
That's live action.
4 is live action. I didn't know animated, so I put 6.
I put 7.
It was 5. Only one person has
Really?
been.
Only one person did
And
animated.
I'm gonna start with that. The person that played the animated was Norman Reedus.
Really?
Oh, nice.
On what?
Daryl himself.
On what?
Oh shoot, I don't remember what they are right now. One of them's an Iron Man.
Was it X-Men
I don't remember.
or Spider-Man, the
I
animated?
think it was Spider-Man.
Okay.
Huh,
So
cool.
pretty cool, huh?
Oh, that's awesome.
And then the live actions was Thomas Jane, John Barenthal, Dolph Lundgren, and Ray Stevenson. Not the one that did the Mississippi Squirrel revival, but the one that was in Rome.
Wait.
Did anybody catch that
Oh,
joke?
yeah, no, Stevenson.
I did. I rolled my eyes at you. It was not an audible response.
But that was so funny. I
was terrible.
thought into that.
One day we'll
I put
get
love
cameras
into
in
that
here
one.
so you can see all that.
So you can see me just roll my eyes at
See, I like Thomas Jane as an actor. He just didn't play.
He was he didn't. We'll get into it. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, he's my favorite one.
Is he?
Yeah.
No.
You're killing me.
Mr.
I love as an actor. I think he's
Carrot
great.
Pants.
What college did Frank Castle attend?
West Point.
He was not in the army.
The Marines.
I put like St. Agatha's School for
Gifted children.
boys
youngsters?
because I've tried to be Catholic.
It was the U.S. Naval Academy in Annapolis.
Oh, okay.
He was a Marine officer, so that's the. I was trying to
See?
give you a
The
giddy on
Marines.
that one too.
I got it.
The infamous and highly controversial story arc called Final Days. If you know what I'm talking about, you'll know what I'm talking about. Who did he team up with? Courtney?
Cage.
Luke Cage.
Oh, good.
Sweet Christmas.
I put Black Panther.
No, but that would have been amazing.
That would have been
too.
bad.
Because you know what it
Oh,
was.
I said the A word.
I put Kingpin because they hate each other, but I figure if it were the Final Days, maybe they'd find some common ground.
No, it wasn't a Final Days. It was him going deep undercover and something that would be too controversial to discuss on regular.
Oh,
Yeah, it's
Sweet Christmas.
honestly it was one of the better story arcs, but
Okay.
it was, yeesh. Yeah,
okay.
it's like paper thin to discuss on this episode because there's stay with the politics. Okay, let's see. What's my next one? As of July 9th, 2011, this is the last time this was counted. What was the Punisher's official comic book kill count? This is 5 points, and this is whoever gets closest to it.
45,000.
45,000.
I'm gonna go.
Cheater.
Nope.
Cheating.
I'm using all my
Cheater.
assets.
I'm gonna go with the number of the beast and say 666.
Not even close.
I'm in
Jason?
reversal of Miss Geeky Page's number by saying 54,000.
I'm going to have to do math on this one. Okay, so without
Yeah.
going over, Courtney just jumped to a huge lead.
Oh, well, there you go.
Without
We only
going over it.
We only got one more question.
The
so.
exact
I'm not
number
gonna-
was
Congratulations,
I'm
Courtney.
not going to get this one right.
48,502.
Oh,
And that was as of 2011, so I'm guessing there's been a lot more.
it's probably a lot closer to 54,000.
Probably by now, I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, and this is what
Just
you guys can
from
kick
the
yourself
TV
about.
show.
This question was asked before. Kosh asked this on a game show
Yeah, I
on the
remember.
Vigilantes episode.
I remember, I guess, like 18,000. I know I was way off, but I know it
That's
was a
why
higher
Miss
number.
Geeky Page got it right.
That's why you keep notes on everything.
Cheated. She
It's
cheated.
not cheating. It's using all my assets.
Yeah, cheated. Cheating.
I didn't
Well,
use
if-
Google.
Yeah, you're not allowed to use that.
Didn't use it.
Okay, and the final question. What is the Punisher's most used / favorite gun?
A blaster.
No.
And he shot first.
Oh, he shot
Red
only.
Rider, Daisy, Red Rider, no.
Red Rider BB gun with a compass in the stock and this thing that tells time?
You'll shoot your eye
I
out.
put M16.
Close, but no.
I wrote a 9mm pistol.
I almost could accept that, but it's not. His favorite gun is the M60 machine gun because he used it in Vietnam. It was nicknamed the Hog, and his second is a Uzi that shoots 9mm.
Wait,
Oh.
so what was the first one?
Is the M60
60.
60?
You said
That's a lot different than a
M16?
16.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's huge. But yeah, so good game show. This is a win for
Cheaty!
Courtney.
Good job,
Courtney,
Cheaty!
Wow.
You did it. You're the real winner.
How did I do that?
How does this make you feel that she's the one that doesn't know Punisher at all?
I know.
Okay, so let's.
Cool.
Good job.
Thanks.
Hold on. No, okay.
All right.
So let's jump in. We're doing because we on these psychology episodes we like to go into the kind of the history of the character, and Blythe is going to kind of lead us off, and we're going to kind of go on tangents from there. And I don't know if we'll ever come out of it. So
Doubtful.
talk to us, Blythe.
You are about to get schooled. It's time for a history lesson.
So, Frank Castle, also known as the Punisher, first appeared in The Amazing Spider-Man 129 in February of 1974, where he was hired by the Jackal as a hitman to take out
That
Spider-Man.
was a question before too.
Yeah.
He is a war veteran and a United States Marine Corps scout sniper in Force Recon. Castle is skilled at hand-to-hand combat, guerrilla warfare, and marksmanship. His family was taken away from him by His family was taken away from him by the mob and witnessing.
Start over on that one.
Yeah. His family was taken away from him by the mob after witnessing a killing in Central Park, and this created a one-man army against crime who isn't afraid to use extreme circumstances such as murder, kidnapping, extortion, threats of violence, and torture. In the 1970s, it was unheard of for a character known as a hero to use such extreme measures, and by the 1980s, he was classified as an anti-hero. So it wasn't until much later that he got that anti-hero
So they
tag.
called him a straight up hero?
They call him a straight up. Or I think when he was first introduced, he was just kind of a hitman, and then they
That would
used
make
him
sense, yeah.
after that for a little while and labeled him as a hero because he was taking care of crime and the mob bosses and things like that. But at this point in time, especially with the comics code and
Yeah.
everything like that, it was hard to call him a hero.
Yeah.
Yeah.
with
I
the
could see
things that
that.
he would do. So that's kind of, I feel like he was probably one of those characters that helped birth the whole anti-hero marker.
Let me break into this. I think this is a lot of response to him being a hero was the guys that got back from Vietnam. They wanted to see that character, that justice that they never got.
Yeah.
And I think that's what they needed at the time. So I think that was it's a response more than anything.
Yeah, but
can see
that's
that.
kind of hard to sell to something that was primarily made for children at the time.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, but was
Comic books were
but
in that time. Comic books were dedicated more towards children and teenagers.
Oh, I'm not disagreeing, but like anytime you just let's just take war movies for instance, and from my personal experience, I've seen this a lot. I mean, you deal with any soldier, sailor, anybody, there's comic books in the barracks always.
Oh, sure.
And it's an important part of the military culture. So I think, even if you want to just go with like the propaganda stuff like Sergeant Rock and all that. I mean, it's an important part. I think that's part of why the Punisher was such a success. I didn't mean to cut you off and go on.
No, I mean, there were Howling Commandos and lots of those things before then. So certainly, military comics definitely have a history.
Yeah, I just think that the extremeness of what he did was...
Well, a lot of that has to do with the fella who created him.
Yeah.
Which, were you going to mention that? I'm sorry.
I actually don't have
Okay,
him.
well, let me intro that, because we met that charming fellow at a Comic-Con and actually interviewed him.
Yeah, we have.
And that was
go back to some footage.
Yeah, that was
some of our old audio. We have.
Yeah, that was Jerry Conway, who was the mastermind behind the death of Gwen Stacy also.
Sure.
So he was in there at a time when he was making a lot of those darker moves. Because that was very controversial.
Oh, for sure.
And he is the creator of the Punisher. I believe he borrowed from a very obscure Stan Lee character that was like a Thanos. I think a Thanos like hitman or something, some thug for Thanos that made one appearance.
I can see that.
That made one appearance, and he had this character, and Stan Lee's like, why don't you call him the Punisher? And thus Frank Castle was born. And as I said, Jerry was incredibly
very
sweet,
gracious,
very sweet,
yeah.
very nice man. And
That's
we
great.
got to interview him on the spot. It was nice.
He's fun on Twitter, so if anybody follows him, follow him on Twitter because he talks about comic books all day
We
long.
really need to put him on our.
Yeah.
I'll remind me after the show.
Okay.
That's all I got. Just since then, he's appeared in also through all sorts of media, not just comic books, from the movies to the Marvel Cinematic Universe as on Netflix, that TV show. And just throwing this out there is a theory that he was within the Marvel Cinematic Universe before the Netflix
Wait,
series
let me get my
even-
crack pipe and light it.
and
Okay, go ahead.
believe it's 2 scenes. I'm trying to think of I know for sure one of them is when the SHIELD agent, it's in Winter Soldier, when you find out that what's the bald SHIELD agent's name?
The bald shit.
Nick?
No, not Nick Fury. It's the Jasper. I think it's
Jasper,
Yes.
yeah.
Jasper. So when you find out he's a Hydra agent,
That's right.
and they have him in the car, and I forget who grabs him and throws him out of the car, but this moving truck hits him. That same moving truck saves Captain America's life at another point in the movie, and the Russo brothers have hinted that was the Punisher.
Oh.
I'll buy it.
Yeah, just a fun.
I'm
I
gonna
think
go
it's just
watch
a fun
Winter
little
Soldier
thing.
again.
Yes,
now.
watch Winter Soldier and look for that
On
truck.
Disney Plus.
Now, if
can
it
watch
were a
another
black,
Disney
a black van, I would be a lot more.
He didn't always do
Sound.
the black van though.
He did for a long time.
He did a long time. He also did the old Charger and all those other really
Right.
cool old muscle cars.
Right, and then the Punisher mobile. Remember with
that
the,
was bad.
with the skulls and the guns and the
Yeah.
big tires and.
I
and the-
hated that era.
Yeah.
That was the ultra violent. Let's do this because we can do it.
Right.
Era. So let me ask this question before we kind of get into the psychology of. We can all agree that in every practice, the Punisher is a bad guy.
Disagree. I think the Punisher has a heart of gold, actually, and is at heart a very good guy. And that definitely came through on the Netflix. If you watch the most recently, they really pushed that part a lot in the Netflix show.
Okay, how's this? He does very, very bad things.
Yes, he
Yeah.
definitely
On
does.
a daily.
Yes, sociopathic bad things, no doubt.
Okay, so let me ask this: what is everybody's thoughts on military and police guys use the skull on a lot of their stuff? I know that one of the current writers had a big issue with it.
It was actually Jerry Conway who had a problem with it.
Jerry Conway?
Yeah, his
Yeah.
creator had a problem with it.
I think the problem you get with, and not to go too political with it, it's kind of hard not to with this kind of subject matter.
Yeah.
But the problem that you have is that the Punisher gets things done by any means necessary. That should not be something that we
Exactly.
expect with the day-to-day police force.
Right.
And that's what that symbol kind of represents is is death and just taking care of business no matter what the means may be.
Right.
And I think that's where people kind of get a little bit of the upsetness.
And I think that's thin-skinned, to be completely honest, because I think that is cops do see, and military do see that that we wish we could get away with that kind of stuff because there's bad people and they get away with it, and we wish that we could stop that. And that's a little bit of being a kid still, which you should keep in your soul a little bit, that you wish you could kind of have that. And I don't think it makes you. I don't think that they think that, oh yeah, well, I need to go kill all the bad guys. But I think it's an ends to the means, and I think that there's a. I think it's okay.
It's a fine line.
It's a very fine line.
It's a very
It's
fine
tough.
line of where, when you should cross it, if you should cross it, and there's an argument for each side of it, and that's why it is a very thin line.
And
hard
I
to
would
talk
say, for every one or two guys that you get that are like what you say, Dub, who look up to the character in that way, that they wish they could take it to the next level to help out society, you have 2 or 3 who don't understand the character and are just using it because they think it's
a cool looking symbol,
cool thing to do, and they don't. So I think you can get a broad spectrum of people in the military or in the police forces using the Punisher symbol. You'll get the ones that are using it for the way that you're saying, but you're getting the ones that don't understand the character as well.
And
it's definitely the wrong symbol for law enforcement.
Yes.
I mean, it is.
Well, I mean, because I think it shows a lack of. I mean, this is coming from somebody who's most of her Punisher knowledge comes from the TV show. I think when law enforcement uses it, it really kind of goes against what the character's about in the first place.
Yeah, and I agree.
Yeah,
I agree, but at the same time, the military especially, I think that let them have it. And I don't think that the writers should have a issue about, especially the military. I can understand more with the cop stuff. But, I mean, this true story, when I applied for the police force and got in, I actually said, well, why? They said, well, why do you want to be a police officer? And I said, well, I've always wanted to be a hero, like, the comic books that I read as a kid. It was like Spider-Man and the Punisher, and I feel myself coming out of my body and say, did you just say the Punisher? And I still went through. So, I mean, there is something in that psyche that's it's not saying that I want to kill people, but I want justice for people. I want to protect the people that can't protect themselves. And I think that's part of where that comes from.
Well, see, that kind of leads into one of the biggest points, if I'm not jumping.
No, not all.
Okay. This will be one of the biggest points I have about, like, the Punisher, the fictional Punisher. I am 100% behind his vigilante ideals. I know the only risk with the Punisher is he could make a mistake, and innocents could become victims in his ventures. And in the comic books, that's probably happened on occasion.
Oh, quite a bit,
and
for sure.
And that's unfortunate. But comparing him to the vigilantes like Batman, like Daredevil, like any of the vigilantes that continually jail some murderous psychopath, only for that murderous psychopath
come
to
back
keep
and kill
coming
somebody
out,
else,
keep getting out. I am absolutely behind Frank Castle's final solution methods to bad guys. That's why, I mean, he goes after the right people.
I can't agree with you on that one, though, because there's been a lot of incidences that he's went after the doorman. Some 19-year-old kid that, I mean, he was there just to watch the door, and he went and killed the kid. He didn't. I mean, was he involved in crime? Yes. Did he deserve to die? No. And that's kind of the scary part about when you put
one person.
You put one person
in charge.
That's
what's
what's
right
beautiful
and
about this country. We have checks and balances. And all.
Well, okay, I know that there's going to be, like I said, in the comics, I know that they're gonna go through all the ranges of the Punisher.
Yeah.
The careful, conscious Punisher to the I don't care, I'll slay anybody in my way Punisher. Again, I like the idea of taking John Bernthal's Punisher from Netflix is kind of like, even though he's one of the most recent incarnations, he's one of the best incarnations. He's absolutely.
Yeah.
I think he's been the only one who's nailed it.
He's absolutely
He
the
understood the
standard for what any Punisher should be. You know, a very, very morally grounded person caught up in his sociopathy to the point where he's got to continue to be a vengeful seeker of justice.
But even in that, he had to be talked down from some situations.
He did.
Too. Because when we first get introduced to that incarnation of the Punisher, it's in the second season of Daredevil.
Right.
Yeah.
He hasn't not in his own universe, and he goes after Daredevil.
He does.
I mean, but he's got to be
Actually,
talked.
didn't Daredevil go after him?
But he was going after Daredevil because he blamed Daredevil for the burning of Hell's Kitchen.
Right.
So he had to be talked away by Daredevil himself from killing Daredevil. But he, and then they work it out, and it goes from there. But I mean, he has to still be even that one he has to be continually talked back from things.
But you think about it with him, I mean, when he chose to kill somebody for even the second season of Daredevil, it was pretty much done.
Well, yeah. I mean, he's
that's
the
why
one
that
that
first
he's the
movie
one
didn't
that
work.
He's the one that kills Elektra.
Right.
So he takes her out at the end because he has to at the end of season 2. So,
Well, the character I think works the best when this is comics and movies and everything else, when there is a conscience person with him. I like the Punisher not to have a conscience and not to know that line, but he has somebody with him that he trusts enough. Frank, you're going over the line again. And he's had that several times.
Sure.
In several incarnations.
and that's one thing that they do a really good job of in the TV show is he always has somebody back there, whether it be Karen, is her name?
Yeah,
Karen Page.
Karen.
Or David.
Or David, or even to a certain extent, Matt himself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Or,
it works well.
Well, the best one was David. Their
Yeah.
relationship was so in season 1 of The
Yeah.
Punisher.
Two, I
Hey,
think.
what's his comic? No, season 1. What's his comic name? He's
I
the
forgot what it was.
it's like TikTok or the
Something
mechanic
like that.
or
Mechanic, I
some-
think
The
it was.
mechanic.
something. But yeah,
Yeah.
he's so good in season 1 as the conscience
Yeah.
in some ways
Yeah,
of Frank.
but
Yeah.
you're right. Frank always has to have. He works best. Character works best when there's somebody just off the periphery to almost be his moral compass.
Pull
And
him-
as
pull
a
him back
character,
from the edge.
Yeah.
character, I don't want him to have a conscience. I want him to have someone with him that is a conscience, because he can always choose not to listen to that person.
Yeah.
And that's what makes the character work well, I think. And that's what makes everybody loves the Punisher, whether you agree with him or not. Everybody knows basically who the Punisher is, because that's just such a cool, iconic character. And it's the same story that's been told for the last.
But in mind, I'm behind his idea of how it should end.
Yeah.
As far as it's sad that he's trapped. He's trapped in a cycle. I don't think he could ever get out of it. I don't think he could ever stop killing bad guys.
No,
But,
he can
um,
die. That's it.
But
Yeah, I
I
agree.
still think that the idea that he wants to kill the worst of the worst is okay with me. I don't have much of a problem with that.
Yeah, I don't. My issue with the character and me personally agreeing with him, it would be the fact that he's not. Let's say he's not the judge. He's not the jury. He doesn't.
Yeah.
He doesn't differentiate.
He's not Judge Dredd.
He's not Judge Dredd. I will judge you. Does that make sense?
Yeah. No, it's just like Jason said, if he's doing the worst of the worst, that's one thing. But then if he's taking out some kid who's just dealing drugs on the side of the street, that's just lost in that piece of their life, that's not the best.
Well, it's you can even look at it this way, like Alcatraz. Now, Alcatraz was built for the worst of the worst criminals, right? The Al Capones and Pretty Boy Floyd's, just the worst of the worst. And then eventually, we have too much room here. We need to start pulling in the lesser criminals, people that should never have been in Alcatraz.
Yeah.
And it's kind of this. That is really a metaphor for the same thing with Frank Castle. Eventually, you run out of the bad guys, and you it's a drug.
Yeah.
And I think that's the other scary part on it.
It's a sickness.
Yeah.
Because he's definitely, he's definitely
Obsession.
unhinged. There's no doubt about that.
Would
And
you
it's-
call him a sociopath?
Yeah.
You've mentioned it a couple times.
Yes.
But
Actually, I'd probably more classify him as a psychopath.
Yeah.
but by definition, what you were saying earlier, he can't be a psychopath. He has a moral code.
Oh, I think you could still have a moral code and be a psychopath. The thing is, I don't think he can stop killing. I think that's what it comes down to. I think it's gone way beyond his family, and even in the Netflix show, that's obviously shown.
Yeah. In the first, when he shows up in Daredevil, it shows.
Yeah, it's gone way beyond his family.
Yeah.
He took care of all those people finally, and he just can't stop killing. He can't stop the killing. So I guess it's probably more accurately he's a psychopath.
I think it's an
I would
addiction.
agree.
It's almost an addiction, and to a point.
Or a sickness.
You could look at it. Yeah, you
Or a
could look at it.
sickness.
Well, an addiction is a sickness.
True. Yeah.
So you could look at it that way.
Yeah, I can see that too.
So this is kind of the fun part of the show is when we get to talk about really what are the psychological symptoms that he has. And a lot of his problem is that he has so many things at the same time. And that's what it's like the perfect storm. The PTSD.
Yep.
A lot of guys have PTSD and they don't end up like that.
They don't
Right,
end up.
But it's
Punisher.
compounded with all these other,
Well, the rage
the obsessive compulsive.
and the rage.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's OCD. I don't think
I would say
fits
he
it.
definitely is. He sleeps, an hour a night? And this goes back to canon. He doesn't
Right.
sleep. He's obsessed with the mission and only the mission. And when he doesn't have a mission, he's lost.
Does he quote the nursery rhyme in the
In the comics? No. Not any of the ones I've read.
Okay.
But again, that's...
Because the continual quoting of the nursery rhyme in
Yeah.
the TV show kind of lends itself to thinking OCD behavior. But if he doesn't do that in the comic books, then
See, but then he stopped doing that in season 2. He did that mostly through season 1.
yeah, but he did it through Daredevil and he did it through season
Season
1.
one.
So it is an obsessive compulsive
True.
need
but,
every
yeah,
time. Just because he stops it doesn't mean it's not there.
That's true.
But if
But
it's
you
not in the
remember
comic
in season
books,
you remember in season 2, at the beginning of season 2, he had decided that he was going to try to just drift around.
Well, yeah.
And he met that woman and the whole bar thing.
Yeah.
Leading into the whole second story that he
Yeah.
ended up doing. See, when he got back into it, he didn't start quoting the nursery rhyme again.
Yeah, but just because he doesn't do it in the second season doesn't mean it wouldn't be considered an obsessive compulsive
Right. I don't know.
behavior because it went through.
Yeah,
it was all the way up into that point.
Yeah, I'm not convinced.
But on the other hand of that, if that's something that's strictly show canon,
Right.
then it's not really something that
Now-
belongs to the Punisher.
But with the obsessive compulsive, that is...
yeah.
Everything he does is pretty obsessive compulsive.
Yeah.
However, that's being a Marine. You get up at the same
There's
time
the
every day.
precision.
How about
Yeah.
this?
There is...
How about just the obsessive? I can agree with that. I don't think he's compulsive.
Yeah, I think if
he's
you're
obsessive.
if you're
Yeah.
whittling it down to him being a Marine, then that's just his learned response to living.
Conditioned response.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
If that's how he was just conditioned, that's just the life
Yeah.
that he lives. And if he went from being one thing and never had a chance to alleviate himself from that, because how long was it? I'm not sure how long it was before he was no longer a Marine to when his family was killed. If there's no time in between
it's
I don't think it's very long.
it's very
Yeah,
short time.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So he doesn't know how to be anything else because that time that he would have had to kind of let go of those things that are conditioned into you being in the military, that was robbed from him when his family was taken from him.
Right.
Because
Good
then it
point.
just became about the mission.
Well, if you're in that kind of special forces, that is, I have a lot of friends that were
Yeah.
SEALs and all that. That they
It doesn't really
you
go
live
away
that.
ever, does it?
It doesn't. Well, I wasn't in anything like special force or anything, but it never goes away. All the military stuff,
Even
it
after
doesn't.
you reacclimate
There's
into
things that I
civilian
do
life.
because of the military that will never change. There's stuff
Sure.
my dad does. He was in Vietnam. He was in Vietnam for 3 years. He's 78 years old right now, and he's there's things that are definitely still military, not for any other reason, but because of those 3 years of his life.
Military is all about creating disciplined routines,
Yeah.
you know, to embrace and to
And because
make
it
yourself
works.
into the best soldier you can be.
Because it works.
Because it does work, yes.
Yeah, and then but there is definitely some side effects. Now let me ask you this question. Let's keep talking on the psychology, but let's say his family was never killed. What kind of problems is he still going to have? How long is he? You know, a guy like that is not going to stay married.
I don't think he becomes the vigilante.
I don't think he becomes vigilante, but I think he turns into a just complete butthole.
I don't think so.
I think he'd be a kind of a. I don't know.
The way
he'd be a
that they
terrible dad.
portray him being with his family, with his wife and his kids, is he loved his family, and I don't think. I mean, it's the whole argument of can someone come back from war and
Well, I'm
live
not
a
saying
normal
because
life?
of the war. I'm saying
No,
because
but
of him.
I think that I don't know. What I get from him as a character is that he loved his family so much. That's what triggered him becoming what he was. And if you take that kind of love that would trigger that sort of response out of somebody, I think that he would have been able to hold a life where he had the life with his wife and kids and just lived a normal...
And slowly would have gotten acclimated better.
Exactly.
He would have held on to those scars, absolutely.
Yeah, for sure.
And not that they wouldn't have come erupting up sometimes, but I think he would have been okay.
Yeah.
Well, I got 2 points on that, and the first one is the only time you ever see anything about his family is his idealized memories of them. And when you're idealizing your memories, you know, you are always a much better person, and you know, especially if you're remembering someone that's passed, they've never done anything wrong. They're like the most. They walked on water. You know, and that's just kind of the way that's the way we're wired as humans. Now, and I'm not saying that because of the military he was the butthole. I'm just saying because of his own psychological makeup. The military
He's
doesn't
a
make you
butthole.
like that.
You know, though, they showed, again, going to Netflix in season 1, they showed his temper with his child on one scene early in the series when the child, I think, showed some disrespect for the flag or something, and he launched on him in kind of a way that was probably a little extreme, you know? And, yeah, I think he would have struggled. There's no doubt, especially he did some real bad things in that Special Forces group he was in.
Yeah.
And the PTSD was strong, no doubt about it. Yeah, I think there would have been struggles, but he would have maybe gone to see his friend, the black medic guy,
Yeah.
who his name is escaping me.
I can't remember his name either.
But he may
was
have
good, too.
gone to see him a lot.
Yeah.
And I think he
or
would
would
have
he have fallen in with Jigsaw?
no. Well, they were, you know, would Jigsaw have become Jigsaw if his family was never killed?
Well, yeah. Well,
Again, in the
he
show.
wouldn't have gotten cut up, but there was nobody died with him. He was just a bad person.
Yeah.
And these are the people
Well,
that
Billy Russo in the show, if Billy Russo never would have been involved in the killing of the family, I
which
don't know.
isn't in the comics, by the way. That's its
again.
own.
I know we're
Yeah.
talking about too. Again, comics went in so many
And we're
directions.
we're
with him.
going all over the
Yeah,
board
yeah.
a little bit, but I just want to get kind of an overall picture of.
But Billy Russo would not have gone completely over the edge. I don't think either.
he was already over the edge before that, though. I mean, you see the stuff that he goes back to with the things he did for war, and it wasn't for God and country. It was to make money, and he was very aware of what he was doing. Usually, when soldiers get messed up, it's because they did it because they're under orders and they're doing what they think is right.
Something that's wrong.
It wasn't because of the money it wasn't because of that with Billy Russo. It was because he was a genuinely bad person.
I think Frank needed the death of his family to become the Punisher.
Oh yeah.
And I
Oh,
think,
for sure.
Absolutely.
I think if his family had lived, we would not have had a Punisher.
But I think he would have had it. I don't see himself having a happy life. I don't think that. And I say, taking all the PTSD
I don't see
stuff
him
aside,
going out and killing a lot of people.
No,
and
not gonna
he
kill
would
people,
probably
but
have
he's-
not been a
he's going to be an alcoholic.
adjusted, happy person.
Nah, I think he'd have been
Oh,
okay.
I think he would have been all right.
Yeah,
I mean,
me
people
too.
come back with PTSD and those kinds of
I just
scars
think-
all the time, and it takes a while, but they do figure it
Well,
out.
I say, and
not
I'm not
everyone
saying-
does, though.
I'm not saying anything on the PTSD
But
level.
yeah. Yeah.
I'm just saying as a human being beforehand and after those psychoses. I mean, you kind of get the feeling that he did have a troubled childhood and all that. It's never been spoken out, but you get the feeling that was definitely there. I think that he has too many issues. I think that he would have needed a lot of help, Punisher or not, to be a normal person.
But I think he would have gotten it, and I think he would have been okay.
I think he was too proud.
No, I disagree. Okay. I'll agree to disagree on this one.
Sounds like Dub and Jason both have their own theories.
Well, you should.
In this case, yeah.
We've been reading comics a long time, and that's kind of the that's why we read them.
That's interesting that you say that you think that the memories of his family were kind of altered in his mind to be better. Everything that we've seen has been altered to be better than what it actually was. That's an interesting way to kind of look, because if that's the case, then yeah, if he was making things up in his mind to make him seem like a better person, then he may have turned out bad either way.
I don't think that's how Conway designed him, though.
But I think that's a psychosis that is deeper than your kids getting killed, because I think that's.
Conway, reach out. Let us know.
Yeah, like we should ask him on Twitter.
Well,
Jerry, did Frank idealize his memories of his family, and was he really a jerk?
You know what? It's been known that there has been a few creators that have listened to these when we've done these.
Yeah.
So I'm going to be putting it out, and if Mr. Conway, if you do respond.
Jerry, I'm Jason. Do you remember when I interviewed you? No. I wasn't creepy.
Well,
no, we were not creepy at all. We were, dude.
I'm just kidding. I'm giving you a hard time. Gee. Okay, now here's a question. You already answered your no on this. Is there redemption for Frank?
What are we defining as redemption?
Can he get over it?
No.
Will he ever kill enough?
No.
Can he ever get help?
It's like that line in Tombstone. He's got a hole inside of it, and he's trying to fill it up, and he can't. You know, when Doc's talking about Johnny Ringo. In this particular case, Punisher's not a lot nicer than Johnny Ringo, but it's the same. I think it's the same kind of thing. He's never going to really be able to fill that void left by the death of his family.
Agreed.
Yeah, I agree with it too. I think he's at that point. He's so damaged that there's nothing that will ever satiate that hunger for wanting justice, especially in a universe and world where there's never an end to the villainous that fills it, whether it be outerworldly or earthly. Like there's always a bad guy to fight.
Yeah, I think if he ever actually did kill all the bad guys, he'd find a way to end himself. I honestly think that's what he'd do.
Well,
because he might come to the realization that he's a bad
the villain.
guy.
Yeah.
Do you think that he tries to? This is really just a suicide attempt?
No, not at this point. I think it would become so if he got all the bad guys.
But who are all the bad guys? I mean, as I said, he's also went after the drug dealer that's a 16-year-old kid that's in a bad place. You know, I mean, there is no
whenever he in his mind runs out of bad guys,
which he might never.
He may never run out of bad guys.
He may always flip it in his mind to find the bad in whoever he's looking at.
Right.
He could look at the average Joe on the street and see him do something not as agreeable, and to him, further down the line, to him, that's a villain.
Nice.
Yeah, could be.
Yeah. Wow. This went way deep. I feel like I've been sitting on a psychologist's couch for about 20 minutes now. So let's move on to our main event.
Now it's time for the main event.
Okay, so on this version of the main event, we're doing our top 5 characters we want to see the Punisher fight or team with in any popular culture medium. Now I know we went all over the board on these, and these are a lot of fun.
Yeah.
This is definitely going to be on the lighter side. I know we've been kind of heavy for the last.
I don't know if you could
minutes.
do Light and the Punisher when having a discussion of his psychology.
I can.
There's definitely a few of these.
Well,
that
in the
are
main
gonna be
event,
light.
yes,
Yeah.
but in his discussing his psychology,
Yeah.
No, and I think it's kind of an important conversation to have, honestly.
For
'Cause
sure.
It can't all be, well, it can with me, but that's just me. Okay, so my number 5, this is somebody that I want to see him fight. I want to see Punisher versus Deadshot. Very similar characters. That would be such a fun, just team up, or not team up, just a fun rivalry, probably for, I'd say about a 6-issue miniseries would be absolutely fascinating. I don't know who wins at the end.
it's an entire 6-issue arc of guys 5,000 yards from each other the entire time. Almost got him.
You know what? Fight
Almost
that-
got him.
That's what would be fun about it.
Or this is what I'm picturing in my head: the Pickle Rick Jaguar fight, where they both have like each other on the ropes the entire time,
Yeah,
and,
that's what it
and then at
happens.
the end they become friends.
I'm a pickle.
Well, actually, you know what? They do have a pretty similar psychology.
That's what I'm saying.
Wow.
Rick
Yeah,
and the
but the-
Punisher.
But
the
then
whole-
when he hates seeing himself in the mirror. Yeah.
Well, there's not enough room for, 2
Yeah.
bad guy killing
Rick and the
vigilantes.
Punisher are the same character.
that just that's twice. Miss Courtney.
Okay, so I put a team up between the Punisher and the Green Arrow.
Ooh.
A team up, not a fight.
I don't know, kind of on the fence. I kind of
Both
like
of
to
those
see
are
all
good.
Okay,
over.
that's
Either one of those are gonna be
that's,
fun.
Whoom. Oh, not far enough. Darn it. Oh, okay. let me get
Punisher,
my
you have
gun.
failed this city.
No, but I think that could be a lot of fun just because they, in a team up. But I don't think it'd be a fun fight. I think it'd be a
No.
fun team up.
I think the Punisher would shoot him in about 10 minutes.
I don't think so.
I think too that you in the Arrow TV show, you get a little bit of that.
That
Yeah.
Punisher.
Some of the characters, not the Punisher, where Oliver Queen in the later seasons, after he's gone through his whole
Metamorphosis.
dark, yeah,
Yeah.
you see him team up with somebody who is ready to get a kill right off the bat, just taking
Wild
care of
Dog
it.
comes to mind.
And then Oliver's the one who
Pulls him
him
back.
back. And that would be that dynamic, like you
That
said
he would
earlier.
he would be the conscience.
exactly.
Yeah.
Which would be and that's why I want to see that as a
Yeah.
team up. I think there'd have to be more people involved.
Yeah.
But I think that's the basis of a great team right there.
Yeah.
That'd be fun.
Agreed. My number 5 is John Rambo.
Oh, okay.
Ooh.
Those-
Which version?
The very First Blood.
I think that Frank Castle. I think he was based on Frank Castle.
He might have been.
And I'm not
Maybe.
being. I'm
Yeah.
not trying to be
Yeah,
funny.
it could
That's
No, for
yeah.
sure. It might have been, and that's why seeing mine are all fights, but I think that's why seeing both of them fight would be fun to watch.
well. I think that would be a one night of hell, and both of them would be dead at the end of it.
exactly.
All right, I played a little bit with this idea of team up or fight, and I added a couple things. So my number 5 is the director of The Last Jedi, Rian Johnson.
Oh my god.
And
Just 'cause you want
and
him dead?
No, I want him. I want him frightened away from Star Wars, and I can't imagine anybody that would do a better job of pee pants frightening somebody better than Frank Castle. So yes, I want Frank Castle to make it very clear that Rian Johnson needs to go away from Star Wars and never return.
You know, I have to say, when I wrote this, I had no inkling that anything would come close to that. But
Thank you.
Not
Thank
my
you very much.
Skywalker.
that's just different. Yeah. Okay, so my number 4.
Rise of the Sky.
I want to drop Frank into a world that is not his, and that world would be The Walking Dead. I think he could finally kill enough. I think that he would be happy.
But would those kills count? Because zombies are technically already dead.
Morally,
Huh?
no.
Nor do they actually fit his actual definition of bad guys.
They're trying to kill.
Yeah, they are. They're
trying to kill.
ravenous.
There is no redemption for them. He's putting them out of their misery.
He could probably adjust his thinking a little bit.
Yeah.
I think
and
he
then
would
be
have an
very
issue
happy.
with
It
that.
would be fun to see all the different ways that he would think of to kill them in mass. Because he would come to the conclusion that he can't just pop them off one at a time, so he would come up with crazy ways to
It'd be
just,
exciting.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
I mean, how
It's like Hunger Games.
I would start watching it again. You know?
It's the Punisher's heaven. That's really weird.
Well, you know, Vikings get Valhalla.
he gets the Walking Dead
Frank,
universe.
gets Walking
Frank
Dead.
gets The Walking Dead.
Okay, so I have Punisher versus Black Widow.
Oh.
Versus Black
Versus
Widow.
or teaming?
I want to see Natasha beat the snot out of it.
Oh,
want-
she would.
She probably has.
Probably,
somewhere.
yeah.
I want to see them date.
Oh no.
She probably has.
She probably has it some
Somewhere,
incarnation, yeah. Yep.
No, that's actually that could be a really fun one.
Oh, she'd
Yeah.
beat there'd be no. I mean, he's
She
tough.
would
Don't get me
beat the
wrong,
snot
and he's
out of
trained,
him.
but she would tear him to shreds.
I don't
Yep.
think so.
It's like fighting Captain America. Same thing. I mean, it would be on par with fighting Captain America.
He's
No
taking out
way.
Captain America at points too.
You're
Oh, heck
putting
yeah. Black Widow and Captain
Black
America.
Widow on the same
No.
level?
They're very close to the same level. She's super soldier
No.
serumed up.
No, she's not.
Yeah, she is.
In what canon?
In
Yeah, and where
Marvel,
now?
Current Marvel canon,
she has taken super soldier serum. She
When?
Oh, I
When?
long time ago.
don't know about
I'm
you.
calling.
This sounds
no.
Go
like
ahead, you guys can
this
look it
sounds
up.
like a crackpot theory.
No.
coming from PB&Jason.
Hey, hand me the crack pipe, Jason.
No,
I'd be interested to see where that was.
I
Yeah.
believe that she is a recipient
Of the
of
super
some
soldier.
sort of. It might not be the exact same,
For sure.
but a strain or something of
So
super
something
soldier
like
serum.
the Red
Weird-
Skull serum.
Because she's older, she's been around longer. She's one of those.
Yeah.
She is
Okay.
a super soldier serum recipient of some type.
Can you say that 5 times fast?
Super soldier serum recipient of some type.
Nope, you can do it once.
I will give that to you. If it does have super soldier serum, I believe she would be able to take down.
But in her current incarnation, nope.
My number 4 is John McClane Christmas special.
Oh,
Yes.
John McClane.
they could go around together killing anybody who says Die Hard is a Christmas movie.
Punisher versus
Everyone
John
in the world
McClane.
would be dead.
John,
That's what I'm
exactly.
saying.
Punisher versus John McClane in the same office building.
Oh, jeez.
Are they teamed up or are they fighting?
They're fighting.
Okay.
Mine are all fights.
Okay, fair enough.
He's a guest of the Christmas special.
My number 4, I have him teaming up with Buffy the Vampire Slayer
Ooh.
to take on her branch of problems together.
Can I give a addendum to this? Because I would like to see if we did this. Let's add one more character, and that character would be Blade. All 3 of those in the Buffy universe.
Well, see,
would
Buffy,
be fascinating.
Buffy and Punisher would do fine for a while, but then they would run into a problem because Buffy their Angel and Spike
Yep.
and Frank would have it in his mind.
There is no middle
There
ground.
is no middle ground, and so Buffy would at some point have to turn on Frank and probably kick his butt, and she could because she's also
She is-
sort of a super soldier
yes.
in her own way.
Well, we all
She's
realize that Frank
enhanced.
has no
She's enhanced.
superpowers at all.
Yeah.
He's well trained.
Well, and if we're doing the Buffy TV verse, she came back from the dead.
She
so-
did
Well, how many times does Frank come back from the dead?
It's true.
in comics a few times. Yeah.
Yeah, at least Frank Frankencastle. Remember that one?
Yes.
Oh, that miserable hungry crap. Oh, that was so bad. Okay, number 3, and I want to see him team up with one Boba Fett.
See now, okay,
No? Not the
Boba Fett.
Mandalorian?
Boba Fett would hate Castle
Absolutely.
because Boba Fett would be like, "I need this bounty to be alive,"
Oops.
you know, and Boba would take him out eventually.
I
Like,
think
2 or 3 bounties that Boba
Or
loses, he's
freeze him in
blastering.
carbonite.
Here's-
See what I did there?
Here's my problem with any argument featuring Boba Fett. If you're going off of just movie canon, that guy is a numbskull. He doesn't do anything. The worst he does is fall into a sarlacc.
Right, Boba Fett, right,
And escapes it.
Yes, you're right. You're right. Yes, exactly. Boba Fett got the proper treatment in literature.
the
Yes.
mythology of Boba Fett.
No, in literature, he
That
got the
guy's
proper
a
treatment.
numbskull.
Yes, and he is a numbskull in the films, no doubt.
Okay.
That is a phrase I never thought I would hear. Boba Fett is a numbskull.
I think we have the name of this episode. Go ahead.
Oh, it's my turn.
It's your turn.
Punisher versus Suicide Squad.
Ooh, versus the Suicide Squad.
Yes,
Versus the Suicide
because then we
Squad.
could finally get rid of Harley Quinn.
We're almost there, Courtney. We're almost there.
Never gonna happen because he's the greatest character in history.
That would be interesting because again, he's not enhanced, but similar to what happened in Civil War when Captain America decided once that they were going to team up with the villains, he just came in and shot them all and said,
Yeah.
we don't work with villains.
Right. Captain America then beat the crap out of him.
Punisher would be the first one to trigger the bombs in all of their heads immediately.
But you know what the thing is? Here's the real thing, though. Punisher versus the Suicide Squad is actually the Punisher versus Amanda Waller.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, now that would be interesting because
Amanda
her
Waller
mind,
would be able to scare Ryan Johnson.
Yeah, she would. That's right. If Frank isn't available, let's get
Let's
her.
get Amanda Waller.
Exactly.
All right. Here's my number 3, Courtney, and it's Punisher versus Harley Quinn.
I love plastic.
Not a contest at all. Just take her out immediately.
Just kill her.
Just get her out of here.
Well, unless she's doing a Who Beats Who, and then she's gonna beat him because that's how this works.
No listener feedback on this one, so she won't win.
That's wrong.
Continuing with the vampire theme, I have the Punisher killing Dracula
I want to know how he'd do that.
The wooden stake.
with a wooden stake.
Yeah, but he'd have to
and
get to
cut off
him
his head and put
first.
wafers and holy water in his mouth. Well, it would be a challenge. In Marvel, he actually has battled
he
him a
has.
few times.
Because Dracula can turn into bats
Yes,
Yeah.
he can.
and mist
Yes,
and wolves.
Wolves. and bugs.
And Frank doesn't care.
Yeah, Frank can.
Frank don't care.
Frank can pull out a minigun and just destroy.
I'm not saying
rip
that he
through
would
all of
win.
those
He
things.
would. I'm not saying
Plus,
it'd be
he
easy.
can recruit minions to help him and put them in
Frank likes a
the
challenge.
way.
Yeah, Frank. No, I want to see. Yeah, Frank.
He likes a
versus,
challenge.
Frank versus Dracula.
That would be
I don't know who would win.
Yeah.
Now, if it
But
was,
Frank trying to kill Dracula.
I would fully support it was Frank versus that sparkly vampire from Twilight.
That's not
Batman?
even. Yeah.
I mean, Batman, right?
Yes.
That's the guy.
Yes,
Next,
the
okay.
new Batman. I do mean Batman.
Oh, I did.
Oh, you did?
Dracula.
Yeah.
Sorry about
Dracula.
that. So we're on number 2.
Yep.
And this is just because my own fandom, I really want to see Green Lantern fight the Punisher. Yes, Green Lantern wins, but I want to see it happen.
Like in seconds.
Well, I'd like to. It
He
depends on
doesn't win.
Oh, shut
He
up.
doesn't win. He's too much. He doesn't. What's he gonna do?
No, Hal
He's gonna try and,
Jordan.
like, drop-
Hal Jordan beats the Punisher inside 15 seconds.
No way.
Yeah, totally.
But he's not gonna kill the Punisher.
He doesn't have to kill him. He has to beat him. That's all he has to do.
But this is a fight with a man who is going to kill you if you do not
Okay,
kill
shoot
him.
me a billion times with my little green shield around me, and it's going to do
Well,
no
let,
good.
let me add this caveat
Wait, did we turn this into a death match?
because this is how it would have to go in kind of this this scenario is I would imagine that Frank would have to have a red ring after that.
Well, if he gets
And that
one
would
of
change
those,
everything.
then yeah, that would change everything.
And that would be an exciting fight to me. That would be better than Atrocious any day of the
Okay.
week. Okay.
that
there.
changes the
Okay.
dynamic. Sure,
I made it
agree.
better.
Wait, did we just make Frank a Red Lantern?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
I'm in.
Cool.
You know you'd want to see that.
Of course
Any
I would.
artists out there watching, draw that, please.
There is.
Please.
I don't think there is another
Make that happen.
ring that he could ever wear other than red. Go ahead.
Oh, that's right.
That's
Okay,
you.
my turn. Sorry. So this is my only other team up: Rocket Raccoon versus teaming up with the Punisher.
Well, Rocket would provide him with some really interesting
Yeah.
guns.
Right?
That's what I was thinking.
How much
He
fun would
builds
that
the
be? And
weapons for
that would
him.
be like the best buddy comedy ever.
It'd be like, I'll give you this gun if you give me that shirt.
Right.
I'm gonna get that
I'm
shirt.
gonna get that shirt.
No,
And then
I'm
by,
in.
by peripheral, Groot would be hanging out with him too, because you can't have Rocket without Groot.
Oh my gosh, baby!
You know what?
Groot
They're
on
both
Punisher's
Marvel.
shoulder.
This can happen.
Baby Groot on Punisher's shoulder. Oh my God, I'm in. I'm in.
You're about to go to San Diego Comic-Con. I think you should probably get that.
Not till July.
Yeah, get that commissioned.
Let's find some deviant artists to make me a Punisher with Baby Groot sitting on his shoulder.
Amazing.
That'd be cool.
My number 2 is a fight of 4 people, all of the movie Punishers. So
Oh.
Lundgren versus Stevenson versus Jane versus Berthnall.
So this comes
Who do you
down to
think would
Lundgren
win?
versus Bernthal.
Yeah.
That's who it comes down to.
Even though they wouldn't even let him have a freaking skull on his chest for that movie.
Well, that's why he'd be mad enough to get to the
terrible.
finals.
He would be the one. I'm gonna get that shirt.
Lundgren.
That shirt, right.
He's gonna get it for Rocket.
He'd shoot Rocket. Dolph is the only one that would.
Shoot Rocket.
Yeah. I mean, I think Berthenol would take it, but Jane's my favorite. So.
Are you? I honestly. Are you joking?
No, that's my favorite.
Well, like I said
Punisher.
earlier, I think he's a really good actor. I like him in things I've seen, but in that...
I think it was one of those... I'm not a big fan of nostalgia, but I think it was one of those when I saw it, I just really enjoyed that Punisher. That scene where he's got the guy upside down and he gets the torch and he's like, when your skin heats up to this many degrees, it feels ice cold, and then he takes the popsicle and just puts it on his back. Like, that's one of my favorite scenes in any movie.
Yeah, but that's not what the Punisher would do. And that's really where I held the issue, because it's like, this isn't really the
director's
Punisher.
interpretations, man.
Like, yeah, because he's not going to go and wait 4 months and,
Plus,
investigate everything.
Plus, where did he get a pop? What's he doing with popsicles? What is the Punisher doing with popsicles?
Because he likes to think there was a
Popsicles
lollipop.
are a delicious
I
summertime
understand
treat.
that.
Is
That's
that the
probably
one
what
that's...
it is in the
Punisher can
freezer.
enjoy that.
Right.
Is that the one that's directed by a woman? Punisher, like
No.
Warzone?
No, that's Stevenson.
No,
Okay.
that's right.
That's the Mississippi Squirrel.
That was a
Revival.
question on one of these shows once, probably by you.
I think
Lexi
that was
Alexander. Yeah, I just couldn't remember which one it was.
All right, my number 2. This one is actually very important to me. I have feelings about this one. Okay,
Aww.
this one
Deep-seated
almost happened in
emotions.
the crossover Batman Punisher. This almost happened. Frank Castle had the Joker at gunpoint and was going to end him, and Batman stopped him from doing it.
That's why Batman loses that fight.
That's why Batman sucks, in my opinion.
At that
He's the
point,
worst.
Batman is evil.
Batman
more evil than
sucks in
because
that
he could have let
case.
it happen.
And that's what my number 2 is, the Joker. I want to see Frank Castle get the chance to put that bullet into the Joker's
version?
head. The version from that comic.
Okay.
Which is kind of the classic version.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Put that bullet in the Joker's head once and for all. No more Joker.
This is a pretty intense conversation.
No, I'm serious. I told
So
you.
am I. I mean,
told you I had feelings about this one. I want the Joker.
I'm serious.
I've wanted the Joker dead for so long, and I want Frank to be the one to do it.
Him to come from a different universe,
Right, and
take
do
him
it.
out.
And he
He's the
almost
only one who
did.
can.
Well, I feel like we're in a good place to have a movie crossover then.
Does anybody have any honorable mentions?
No, I don't.
I got 2 I have to spit out just because I have to.
Well, try to make sure you cover your mouth.
Gross.
All right.
That would be the Punisher and Deadpool team up against X-Force with Omega Red and
Okay.
Yes, I want to see that. I want to see it. And the other one, I want to see Punisher go back in time and fight with
And kill
not,
baby Hitler?
Not fighting. Well, everybody wants to see that. And not fighting Conan, but fighting with Conan. Just being barbarians. And that
I feel like
think,
he would try
Are
to
you
make time with
taking
I think
away-
that would
Soviet,
make
too.
his. I think that would cure Frank's soul, and he'd die a happy man.
That's just to take out the Neanderthal in him.
Well, just go. You know,
Just do it.
Just have the sword in your hand. Smash things with axe. You know.
Nice.
Okay, so no one else. So my number 1, go back on that same thing. It would be, and this is at the same time fighting and being on a team with Deadpool. Yes, we've seen it in comics, but
Captain
that is.
Deadpool.
I love it.
The thing is, though, I can't really see Frank getting involved in that one more than once because he shoots him a gazillion times and he can't kill him.
Yeah.
And I imagine Frank being like, okay, I'm done with this one. I'm
So
not.
they-
That's part of the team up slash fighting. Because they're going to fight all the time because they're Deadpool.
Because
and
it's
Frank.
Deadpool.
He's completely annoying and I can't kill him. I'm
So-
getting in my black van and driving away.
So therefore, he's happy because he can shoot him as many times as he wants. Okay, stress reliever. I'm good. I've done my killing for the day, and he comes
So
and then Wade comes back.
Deadpool's the equivalent of one of those
Squeezy
Squishy
balls.
toys. Toys.
Squishy balls, right. Exactly.
Deadpool is
stress
squishy
ball.
balls. Wow, that sounded horrible. But what's your number 1, Courtney?
Because my answer's always this.
42.
42. Well, new
Wonder Woman?
52s. Yep, Wonder Woman versus Punisher.
Punisher.
And
Okay, another fight that ends in
Sheesh.
6 seconds.
yeah, because she would snap his neck and it'd be over with.
No, 'cause Punisher
Yeah, that would be like
destroyed.
one page
Yep. But it would be fun to watch.
For 2 minutes.
for one page.
I'd do it.
I can see it.
I'd subscribe to that newsletter.
I can see it being enjoyable, but I mean, it's quick.
The answer's always Wonder Woman. If I don't have an answer, it's always Wonder Woman.
I wonder if she's going to eventually become as annoying as Harley Quinn.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah, probably.
She's hoping.
My number one is John Wick.
Oh,
I would like to see that fight.
Wow.
You killed my dog. You killed my kids. Let's go kill everybody.
No animals in the situation.
Wait,
I will be real and say I did not watch the first John Wick for years because of that first opening scene.
Yeah.
So no dogs involved.
No, I'm saying that their philosophy.
So you want them to fight?
Just fight, yeah.
That would be a tough fight.
Yeah.
Well, that could last for issues upon issues. That could go for 3 years.
I'm not even lying. I'm totally picturing Keanu Reeves and John Bernthal going at it right now. I don't know who the winner would be.
I honestly can't say I know who the winner would be either. That's fascinating.
You're welcome.
It's kind of surreal that John Bernthal was in The Walking Dead. Now that you stop and think about that, that's kind of
so
surreal.
Technically the Punisher's already been in The Walking Dead. See what I did
Anyway,
there?
my number one.
He's kind of a butthole in that one, though.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Because Frank's a
Shane
sweetheart.
sucked. Shane was worse.
So my number one, and I bring up the whole heaven thing because where The Walking Dead world could be Frank Castle's heaven. Another utopian adventure for Frank Castle would be teaming up, because I think that my number one would expand Frank's vision in ways he never imagined when teaming up with the main man, Lobo.
Yeah, this was on my list.
I think that Lobo would be like, you want to increase your spectrum, you want to
let's go.
You want to widen your entire perspective, and I think that they would go off and just have the most marvelous time together.
How long would it last?
As long as Lobo wanted it to.
Fair enough. That is a great place to end it, because when you end a show on Lobo and Punisher, I mean you've really reached your peak.
Yeah,
you've reached your peak.
Yeah.
So check out the website www.iheartgeekshow.com. Use the com.
We paid extra for it.
I love that I don't have to
Well,
say
you
that
guys
now.
did. No, I'm kidding.
Go to the Facebook. Go to the YouTube, subscribe, comment, do all that fun stuff. Go to the Instagram. Talk to us on Twitter. I do talk back.
I'll talk back to you on Instagram.
And
I'll talk
to you on
wherever you
Facebook.
talk to us.
Just
we will
talk
talk
to us.
back.
We like
My
to
mother
talk.
taught me to not talk back,
That
I'm sorry.
explains it.
Yakety
Okay.
yak.
but I'll chat
Don't
back.
talk back.
Yeah.
Take out the papers and the trash. Okay, sorry. And until next time, I'm Dub.
I'm Miss Geeky Page.
I'm Lies.
I'm Punisher B&Jason.
Keep
on geeking on.
No one has anything funny to say after a show that deep?
I really
No,
have
man,
to pee
it's
now.
too dark. Too dark.
Okay, it's time for me to go pee.
You've been listening to iHeartGeek. Our Twitter account is @iHeartGeekShow. Hope you enjoyed the show.